Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. It is June 26th and it's about 10 after 3 in the afternoon. We are going to be walking down the Kay Gardner Beltline, and we left off at a video on April 3rd. It was my April 3rd video. It was titled Stay Safe, and we concluded right at this park. And I thought I would pick up today's walk continuing west along the Kay Gardner Beltline. It is overcast today and it's really calm. There's no breeze. It's pretty humid and it's a nice temperature. I didn't check the temperature when I left home. I just sort of stepped outside and figured on what I should wear, and I am wearing shorts and a t-shirt, so it's pretty warm out. I hope everyone is enjoying this beautiful Saturday. Last weekend, last Saturday it was, we were in Parkway, and I did 2 videos in Parkway. One walk along the waterfront and the other walk along the main drag. I hope you had an opportunity to watch those videos. It's really bright, warm Saturday. Quite honestly, I expected it to be a lot busier in here. As you can see, there's not a lot of people. I just thought I would see a lot more cyclists and runners. I've been coming down this path for years. I used to, and I still do actually, run through the Beltline. We're going to walk to the Allen. It's really nice. Well, it's nice coming through here any time of day. You're protected from the heat because, as you can see, the trees provide a shaded canopy. And it's really nice to cycle through here too. I would just not have thought it would be this empty. I am surprised by that, but I enjoy it. It is nice walking through without having to dodge cyclists and runners, and not saying I mind that, it just makes it a lot easier to sort of walk freely. This is Oreo Parkway, Kay Gardner Beltline. This is such a serene part of town. It's a park within the city, effectively. That's how I see it. So when I used to, especially when I was training back in the day, I'd be out here about right when the sun would come up, so like 5. And every once in a while I would see some wildlife. And that was, although it was beautiful, but I was a bit spooked because there were I've seen a fox, skunks, raccoons. So you want to keep away, particularly during the late spring, early summer months when they've got when they probably have babies around. So I was always very mindful when I left home what time I was leaving, and I wanted to make sure the sun was pretty much up, so I didn't encounter any protective mamas. I do really enjoy these overcast days. I always find them to be very peaceful, and the city just always seems calmer to me. This is Avenue Road that we're just crossing. Now, I'm not sure why this is all roped off in here. Well, here's some serious signage for a beloved missing furry. Oh, my heart breaks when I see a missing pet. Here is a marked, this is new actually within the last year. This is called Upper Canada College Station. So back in the day, the Beltline that we're walking along here used to be a railroad, and that was where one of the stations was located. And throughout our walk today, we will see other markings or other sites of railroad stations. It's nice that they kept this path and turned it into a pleasurable park-like feature for people to enjoy. Often, there are runners, usually I see in the morning, because that's when I would be out, and usually would just kind of be runners out. And then later in the morning, early afternoon, a lot of families on bikes. And, there's always walkers. Hooray for walkers. And it can almost be sort of scary coming through here when it's really heavily trafficked with walkers and strollers and cyclists and runners. Sometimes people might be going a little bit too fast, and I've seen a few, mind you, encounters. And what I mean by that is, I've seen a cyclist hit a pedestrian, not hard. The person didn't fall down, but all the same, it was not a good sight. Everybody was upset. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but there's a little swimming pool there. So where the camera is angling, these houses, part of Forest Hill. Pretty sure it's part of Forest Hill. Now the trees, as you can see, are in full bloom. They have all their beautiful leaves. In the fall, once the leaves, or once the trees are barren, you can see into some of these homes, like straight on. It always worries me again that I think if people can see right into these homes and there's no window coverings, that there can be some people out there that might be peeping toms and watching them. But that's kind of where my mind goes, because I just watch, I think, way too much true crime, and my favorite type of books are true crime, so that's where my mind tends to wander when I see something that might compromise security. One time, this was years ago, I can't remember everything about it, but I remember there was I was running, and there was another female runner ahead of me, like quite a ways ahead of me, but I could see her. Anyway, there was a guy that sort of appeared on the path, and this was an early morning run, and if there were any other runners, they weren't nearby, and apparently this guy, so she screamed, or she made a noise, and there was something, and then I was running towards her and picked up the pace. He took off, this fellow, and she said that I can't remember if he said something to her or did something. She didn't know him, but it's almost like he was waiting for an opportunity to be a jerk. And anyhow, she was unharmed, and she just, told me quickly sort of what happened, and then she just took off running because she just wanted to get out of Dodge. And but I stood and I watched him, and then I went to the top. I left the Beltline and I walked up to the street, because it happened to be in a pathway that led from the street into where we are now, into the Beltline. Because as you can see, you can't access the Beltline from just any location. There are certain spots where there's a pathway to the street, and that's where he was. Because when I went up to the street to see him, because I wanted to be able to get his license plate or something, and I remember him getting into a dark van, and he just took off. But he was too far away, as was his vehicle, for me to capture any of that information. But yeah, so even though that didn't happen to me, it happened well enough in front of my eyes that I, always remembered it. And this was, oh gosh, it'd been more than 10 years ago. So I am more sensitive to time of day when I do decide to run the Beltline. I'll come out maybe at 6, but I won't come out before that. And if I do want to go running earlier than that, then I'll just do the streets. Just to avoid any weirdness. So we're coming up to one of those locations where you could exit to get to street level. And the Beltline is slightly recessed from the street, but not by much. You'll see. The 10th anniversary, the Kay Gardner Beltline was 2010. Ah, that makes sense because I think I did my first. This will lead up to one of the streets in Forest Hill. And this leads up to Chaplin Crescent. I think this was the actual spot where the fellow was, and I remember going up to that spot, and he was just across the street. Yes, the Kay Gardner Beltline was constructed in 2000 then. And I did my first major training run in No, maybe it was 2001. Yeah, not 2000. Maybe it was 2001. Because this was here. And I just had assumed that it had always, been here and in this state. So it wasn't here. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Learned something new today. I wish you could just smell how wonderful it smells in here. It's earthy and clean and aquatic, probably because of the recent rain. I did plan on doing this walk yesterday, but it was raining in the afternoon, so that was put off until today. So these fences that you see along here, they are the back of homes, and pretty grandiose homes, and there's a lot of property that are attached to these homes. So the beauty in the summer months is that you really can't see many of the houses that are behind these fences. I get some weird looks carrying this camera sometimes. Particularly when it's not very busy where I'm walking, like where I am now. when I'm on a busy street, people don't necessarily notice, but when I'm in a quieter location where there's less people, I do get some strange looks carrying a camera. Oh, did I? No, I haven't missed a station, I don't think. There's another one up here. So here, right behind this fencing and the black tarp that you see here and all the wood, that's of course construction for the new crosstown, the Edlington crosstown. But there used to be stairs leading up here to get onto Edlington Avenue. Obviously, those stairs have long since come down, but I do remember sometimes taking those stairs. Here are two pretty cool murals. So you can see there's a train and looks to be children. And then you can see some peregrines. And some runners. And a dog. Very nice, right? Really nice. So here is another station. This is called Edlington Station. Toronto Beltline Railway. And what it says is reproduction of archival blueprint originally drafted by Walter J. Francis, engineer on the construction of the Toronto Beltline Railway, 1889 to 1893. That's cool. And these I think just were erected last summer. They put some flowers here. Very nice. A little bit of history that we can appreciate. This is a TTC building. That's probably been up for maybe 10 to 15 years. So it's not that old. Apartments here, so the nice view, the people that live in these apartments, they have all this beautiful green space to admire. They can sit out on their balconies, have their coffee, and just appreciate the quiet and the green, and probably spot some furries of the wildlife kind. It is really humid out. Whew. So we're just crossing a alleyway for cars that are coming out of the apartment buildings on the south side of the path. So you probably can hear the traffic, so just beyond these trees there's the street and buses and cars. It's a fairly narrow street. I do like it. I like driving along it. I'll show it to you. Here's the Beltline, one of the entries, another entryway into the Beltline. So if we emerge to the street, I think what we see across the street, that's the Larry Crossman. I think that's an arena. Yeah, it's an ice skating arena. But it's nice, isn't it? A nice big park there. You see a lot of runners. There's a track there, I think. Yeah, there's goals for soccer. So this is one of the few spots where the Beltline is pretty clearly seen from the street. But most of it is covered by trees, or walled off, I guess, by trees. So in the summer, when I ever wanted to go to Yorkdale Mall, I would take this path to cycle to Yorkdale Mall all the way along the bike route. Didn't do it last summer. Probably not going to do it this summer. I shouldn't say that. Hopefully I can. Because it is a nice cycle. It's pretty flat. And it's pretty safe as far as car traffic is concerned. I think it's Route 35, if I'm not mistaken. Or Route 35 is part of the route that connects to maybe another route or a few other routes. When I read the paper yesterday, it said it was supposed to be no rain tomorrow, but rain today. And it looks like quite the opposite happened. Well, that was yesterday's newspaper, so I didn't check anything digitally. I just read the paper and just assumed the paper would be accurate, but can't be the case. Look at that little squirt right there. Cutie pie. Little pug. When I hear a dog barking continuously, I just suddenly worry that the dog's in distress or something. I don't know why. They usually bark because They're lonely, they're angry, or angry is probably not the right terminology. They're fearful, or they're in some form of stress. I remember Physics, our dog, he would bark when the doorbell rang. That was really the only time he would bark. Oh, and then when we'd let him outside, and goodness gracious, if there was a bird on the lawn, he would just go crazy and start barking. How dare you enter my domain without my permission? So these Meridian Pathways, they were put in place probably less than 5 years ago, and they are a godsend. I do remember running full-grown spotted coyote in trees north side of the trail Saturday. Mind your dogs and small children. It's not being aggressive. Okay. Well, they tend to be more fearful of us, but if I saw a coyote, I would probably turn around and head the other direction. Especially, as I mentioned earlier, now when they have young'uns with them. I was saying something. What was I saying? Oh, well, it must not have been important if I forgot. So it looks like a little memorial here to someone named Grace. I'm assuming it's a memorial. But it was really nice. It was rocks that were painted. Here's some more. There's no name, but I don't know how much those painted rocks would be appreciated in this nature's way. There's another one. I'm not sure if it's creepy or nice. Oh yeah, again, there's another one over there that's had Grace on it. Can you imagine if everybody started placing things in here? It could get pretty crowded. And it would take away from all this beauty. Here's another one.
And I need you two for but like you need to rest. So at one point, like getting close to the end, he was lying down on the bed and I was in the tub and I had both midwives on either side of me. And I was practically probably a minute apart. So I was falling asleep and they're like, your body's just like letting you rest for as long as you can. And yeah, and at that point I said to Dion, which Marshall is like, I said to Dion, what do you think?
I see the Allen. There's the Beltline, at least the first part, or I wouldn't say the first part, but this stretch that we're walking along today, it concludes at the Allen, but it picks up again about maybe 200 yards. You can't go directly straight. You have to go up to the street level, and then connect to the other side. And the other side is newer. I think it's called Fort or North York or something. I can't remember now. We'll do a walk along there as well. Not today, but it's quite different because it's newer. So there is, of course, a lot of foliage, but certainly not to the mature level that we have here. It's opened and it's paved. I think it's paved the whole way. I could be wrong, but a good part of it is paved. As compared to this stretch of the Beltline, it's just dirt, as you can see. And in the winter, I found it to be in the middle of the winter when there's ice and snow. There's no way you can get through here because it's so icy and slippery. And they don't maintain the pathway. They don't maintain the Beltline. So they don't, in other words, they don't clear it. And we're coming up to Old Park Road. So Route 31 to the south and Route 31 to the north. Yeah. Yeah, that's, and then what I would do when I was coming up here to get to, like, for example, Costco, like the Billy Bishop Costco, or to Yorkdale Mall, I'd come up through here and I would connect up to one of the roads up there. I usually come out there and around that road and up that pathway. There's some lovely homes up there. And then that would take me into a park with tennis courts, and then I would get up to what was that street called? I drive down it, but I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, and that would take me up to Lawrence, and then I would zigzag north of Lawrence along the belt, or along the bike path. And then there was a major street that I would go down. I wouldn't say major. There were cars and there wasn't a designated bike lane, but it was a pretty low-key traffic way, so I was never really over concerned where I had to hop on the sidewalk or anything. It's a schoolyard here. I still can't get over how quiet it is here. And it's such a perfect day. I just figured everybody would be out cycling or walking dogs or walking children. Probably mentioned this before, but when it's so humid like this, especially amongst all this foliage, of course it's even more humid, I can feel my hair expanding, just getting bigger and bigger. That's what happens with curly hair. It seeks moisture, so it just reaches out to grab moisture, and it just feels heavy. I'm not complaining. I'm glad to have hair. Not sure what area of town this is now where we are. We are near the Allen, so I can see the houses are quite different. So we're certainly out of Forest Hill. So when I used to run and train, I used to run down here and then I'd get to the wall and I had to touch the wall before I turned around or before I would go up. Sometimes I would go north to Briar Hill, run along Briar Hill. Yeah, I was gone for about a good hour. I think it was a good hour run. Yeah, I have to get back on the saddle, so to speak. I did get my new running shoes more than one time for a walk. Gotta get back at it. Can't lose my way. See, touching the wall. He's touching the wall. See, that's what a lot of runners do. They touch the wall. So going straight down there as well, we'll do that probably one day. That crosses down to Edlington and beyond. Goes through a park. I took you guys through a park down there. Now we're walking north. So I think this is Elm Ridge Drive. And here, this is where the bike path goes. If you want to connect to the other part of the Beltline. So way up ahead there, you may not be able to see. You can see the flashing crosswalk lines, but just lights rather. But beyond that, there are actually street lights, street traffic lights. That's where you would turn south to get to connect with the other part of the Beltline. So here we are. This is the Allen, looking south. Well, folks, thank you very much for joining me today on this walk. I hope you enjoyed it. It's a perfect day for a walk. I've yet to meet a day that's not perfect. Well, yeah, I actually can think of days that are not perfect when it's raining and snowing heavily. But this was a perfect day to be out. Not too bright, overcast. So again, thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed the video. I look forward to seeing you in my next video. And please consider liking this video and smashing that like box. And I will see you in my next video. This is Boomer Girl Walking, signing off.